And welcome back to Ford Field. The Panthers and Lions coming right up, but earlier Jennifer Hale caught up with Lions head coach Jim Schwartz.
All right, thanks, Dick. Coach, you guys are in playoff contention. You're coming off a tough loss, going into a big game against Green Bay next week. How crucial is today for you?
You know, when you only play 16 games, all of them are big. But this is a home game for us. It's an NFC game for us. And, you know, we started the second half of the season last week with a loss, as you said, and we need to get back on track. So it's a little bit more important than just a regular week.
And the Lions sport one of the most intimidating defenses in the league. Today you're going up against rising star Cam Newton, a guy that can hurt you with his legs or his arms. What's the game plan for containing him?
Well, you know, if you try too much to contain Cam Newton, you forget about Steve Smith, and you forget about Greg Olsen and D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. I mean, they're a very, very potent offense. A lot of guys that can make plays, and, you know, you need to be able to play sound through all levels of your defense. We need to have a good rush plan to take care of Cam Newton, but you also have to play good run defense. We also have to cover really well because they have some outstanding receivers, and our defense is going to get tested today.
Coach Jim Schwartz, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Dick, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. And there is Cam Newton. Lions facing him for the first time, and the second indoor game for Cam Newton. His only other contest was in Atlanta indoors. And Ron Rivera, who was part of that '85 Chicago Bear defense, John, and I think he wants them to resemble at least the effort and impact of that team.
Absolutely. You know, and Ron Rivera, interesting enough, both teams played in chippy games last week. He wants his team to do it between the whistles, just like Mike Ditka used to tell them and the '85 Bears. Lions
will get the ball first, and Olindo Mare kicking off. Stephon Logan will run it out from deep in the end zone to start the game, and Logan is buried hard before he gets to the 20-yard line. So Matthew Stafford coming out, and he is wearing a glove to protect that broken right index finger. He says it's not an issue, and he has played through a sprained ankle last month. He has had some injury problems, but Stafford feels the best he has felt since suffering that injury.
Well, that's true, but there's no doubt about it. It's legitimate. When he shook our hand the other day, he was very careful. In saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out shooting, went deep right away here today.
From the 17, Lions with the first possession of the game. And throwing deep. Calvin Johnson. And double covered and very nearly made a great catch. Charles Godfrey was down there to defend. They go deep on the first play.
And I said that because we were out at practice yesterday and bombs were a-flying. Charles Godfrey does a tremendous job of playing Calvin Johnson. Actually pulls it out with that left hand. Calvin Johnson, that's a ball that he expects himself to catch. That's just a drop.
Second down and 10. Threw to him 19 times. Out of the shotgun on second down. Good protection. Going deep again and overthrowing tight end Tony Scheffler downfield. So going deep on the first two. Obviously, the game plan is to test the secondary right off.
Well, they respect this secondary. They wanted to come after him. Watch Scheffler, a little double move, going to fake a little stutter. They like this matchup on Charles Godfrey. Again, they have him beat. 2 opportunities at deep balls, 2 missed opportunities. Now you've got a 3rd and 10.
Now Javid Best is missing his 4th consecutive game with post-concussive symptoms. Maurice Morris started, and now Kevin Smith is in the game. And the Lions will call a timeout early in this game. It'll be 3rd down and 10 when we come back to Ford Field in a moment. Lions calling a timeout, and as John saw, they had too many men on the field, forced to do it. So now 3rd and 10. Kevin Smith in the game at running back. Everyone going out, and this pass is intercepted. And it's James Anderson, the strong side linebacker, who started the year at weak side backer in an injury-riddled linebacking core for Carolina, and a big turnover here.
Watch James Anderson right there in the middle. He's going to drop out, show blitz, drop out. This is where Stafford has struggled mightily on 3rd down. 3rd and 10s are tough. That's just a bad throw. Never sees Anderson. You watch him, and you have to wonder right away, is the finger affecting him? I don't think so here. I think it's just he never saw James Anderson, threw it right to him. Easy interception for James Anderson.
4 interceptions last week against the Bears for Stafford. Now a first down on the 27 of the Lions for the Panthers. And the handoff to D'Angelo Williams, and Williams getting to the 25, a pickup of 2. There you see the struggles in the last 2 games for him.
Yeah, he had protected the ball extremely well. Through 8 games, 4 interceptions, and the last 2, 5. That's a problem. I think a lot of it has to do with the finger. We'll see if he can respond today.
Second down and 8. Big opportunity for the Panthers. Fake the run, the pass, and that one off the hands of Eric Wright. And Steve Smith was the intended receiver, but he wasn't anywhere near that ball. And that will bring up third down and 8.
I like the play call right away. Come out with a quick play action. He's got Steve Smith right there. He overshoots him. Should have been an interception for the Detroit Lions. Eric Wright should have had that ball. It was in his hands. Cam Newton high. High balls turn into interceptions in this league.
Third and long. Pressure on Newton. And this one is intercepted. Eric Wright with the interception and pushed out of bounds. And that ball looked like it might have fluttered somewhat and might have been deflected. In any event, the Lions get the ball back on an interception for them. This was the first interception by Anderson of the Panthers. And then Newton throws one to Eric Wright, and the Lions will get it back when we come back. Following Eric Wright's 3rd interception of the year, the Lions have it, and there is Cam Newton with a towel over his head. A lot has been said about his body language on the bench, and we'll talk more about that. First down on the 20 for the Lions, and the handoff is to Maurice Morris. And Morris picking up about 1.5 yards on first down.
Here we go back to this Cam Newton interception, and it's Sammy Hill on the inside and Kyle Vandenbosch. They're just going to collapse the left side of the Panthers offensive line. Jordan Gross actually hits Cam Newton so he can't follow through. That causes the ball to flutter. Eric Wright like making a fair catch on a punt, and Cam Newton upset, as well he should be. His front line got whooped versus Tennessee. They're getting whooped early here.
Second down and 8. Again, it's Morris, and again the Panthers stop him almost in his tracks. And that will bring up third down. Taking a look at the Lions offense, we mentioned that the best not playing, and they have a lot of targets for Matthew Stafford to go to.
Yes, they do. Calvin Johnson, obviously. Tony Scheffler, one they want to get more involved with the absence of Javid Best. This offensive line has struggled, and here's where it shows itself most. Third down. This is the last ranked third down offense in the entire National Football League. Shouldn't be with all those weapons.
And generally, this is an offense that thinks pass first. A lot more passes than runs. No balance so far. Third down and 8. He's got some time, and the pass is caught by Nate Burleson. Goes out of bounds and appears to have a first down for Detroit at the 31.
Good job by the line, giving him time. And watch Nate Burleson, little tiptoe, keeps both feet in, controls the ball through the process of the catch. And there's Matthew Stafford playing around with those gloves. We were in practice the other day, and he kept doing that. The gloves help him get a better grip on the ball with that broken finger.
First down, and the pitch is to Morris. And Maurice Morris, Lions have not been able to do anything running and will lose a yard. This was Matthew Stafford before the game, working with that glove.
And you look, it's his index finger, but right there, those are the type of things where you know that's bothering him. We were with him in a meeting the other day. He'll admit to you it's bothering. Last week it was touch and go really, as far as all the way up till Thursday as to whether he could play. They blamed it a lot on the wind. but it's a legitimate deal. It's on your throwing hand, and that's your power finger in throwing a football.
63 throwing attempts last week against the Bears, franchise record. Now 2nd down and 11. This pass is caught, and diving for the first down is Rasheed Davis, the former Chicago Bear. And once again, the Lions move the chains in a first down.
And it doesn't bother him here. Good time, good job by the offensive line. He steps through the throw and delivers a strike to Rasheed Davis.
And as Jim Schwartz said, the tale of the Bears game is not how we played, but how we react to it and respond. First down at the 42, play action. Chase from behind is Stafford, and his pass is thrown out of bounds. Thomas Kaiser, who is a undrafted rookie from Stanford, who Ron Rivera has high praise for, put the rush on Stafford from behind.
Thomas Kaiser is a guy that was just brought off the practice squad last week versus Tennessee, played very well in their loss. They are high on him. They want to use him as a stand-up 3-4 linebacker, and you'll see plenty of Thomas Kaiser today.
Lions got off to that 5-0 start, as John mentioned, struggling, losing 3 of their last 4. They've lost their last 2 here at Ford Field. Morris. And a good defensive play by Charles Godfrey, who came up from the secondary and stops Morris for maybe a yard at the most. Let's take a look at this Panthers defense. Their strength is up front, and they have been struggling against the run. Haven't showed it today. And don't forget, they've been without Beeson and Davis, the linebackers.
And then on top of it, Dan Connor starts to play well in the middle. Now he's hurt. Jordan Sin steps in. The strength is their secondary and the 2 ends up front, Johnson and Greg Hardy. They play at a high level.
3rd down and 10. Here comes the pressure on Stafford. Flush from the pocket and gets away from a lineman and gets knocked out of bounds. Flag goes down for the late hit. Terrell McClain provided the hit, and it was Antoine Applewhite who chased Stafford.
You look at the coverage. This was a coverage. They were off the field on 3rd down, but Matthew Stafford runs.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 76, late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And they called it on 76, Greg Hardy, but that's Terrell McClain, the rookie defensive tackle, and that's just not smart football. Something he'll learn. You can't blame that on being a rookie, and that's been a problem all year. 2nd most penalty yards in the National Football League. It's bothering Ron Rivera, and as you see, it hurts this team.
So instead of a 3rd down play coming up, it's a first down for the Lions on the 41 of the Panthers. Here's Stafford at midfield. Kevin Smith out of the backfield. Good fake by Kevin Smith, knocked out of bounds inside the 25. And it was Chris Gamble who made the play.
Now, one thing you do when you throw deep twice early, you back that defense off. When you back the defense off, plenty of room for running backs like Kevin Smith to get the ball in space. Kevin Smith back a couple of weeks ago. They really like where he's at physically. And Calvin Johnson, this is what makes him so phenomenal in my mind. He's a complete player, complete receiver, blocking downfield.
What a fake on Omar Gaither, the linebacker. A gain of 15, now a first down at the 26. Up the middle, and intercepted off the deflection by Godfrey. And Godfrey brings it back. It was touched first by a Panther defender. Wanted to go to Calvin Johnson in the end zone. We have had 3 interceptions already in this first quarter with 8:35 to go. It was deflected by Sherrod Martin. A strange start. We've had 3 interceptions in 6 minutes. And it was Anderson, Wright, and Godfrey with the picks. 3 drives in the game thus far, each ended by a pick and a first down on the 18 for the Panthers. Here's D'Angelo Williams outside. D'Angelo Williams down the sideline and knocked out of bounds by Louis Delmas. And this is what the Panthers' strength is. Cam Newton and all, and he's part of the running attack. 29 yards for Williams.
Well, and as good as this Detroit defense is, this is their Achilles heel, their run defense, and its explosive runs. They have a propensity to let these get out the door, and their missed tackles, it's lack of gap integrity. Amari Spivey, the safety right here, misses D'Angelo Williams. These are explosive backs for the Carolina Panthers that can take advantage of that.
Now Jonathan Stewart, a good receiver out of the backfield, is behind Cam Newton, 1st and 10 on the 47. Fake one way, pass up the middle, and it's caught by Brandon LaFell. And LaFell, one of the promising young receivers for the Panthers, picks up 21 more and a 1st down to the 32 of Detroit.
And he's a guy I really feel they need to continue to get more involved in their offense. Good things happen when they throw to LaFell. He's an explosive player. I really felt coming into this game he needed to come alive, as did many of the Panthers.
Steve Smith wide to the right, to the top of your picture. It'll be 1st and 10. Here's Stewart, and Jonathan Stewart goes nowhere, and Cliff Averill making the tackle, no gain, bringing up 2nd down.
Dick, when you look at this Detroit Lions defense, they are so good up front. They should be very good at run defense, but this continues to happen. And at first you say, that's okay, they'll get on it, but it's happened throughout the year. It's really, as I said, been their Achilles heel, keeps them from being a dominant group.
You saw D'Angelo Williams come back in. Now Smith to the bottom of your picture, going in motion. 2nd down and 10, and here is Smith, and he slips. Couldn't get anything going, and Levy put the clamps on him. As a result, a loss of 1. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 11. Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator on a defense some call dirty, some say nasty, but aggressive and effective, huh? Third down and 11, and there's the shuffle pass to Jonathan Stewart, and Stewart inside the 15. And the Panthers looking crisp here in a game with 3 interceptions thus far and a pickup of 21 on this one.
Well, Jim Schwartz told us Carolina's so difficult to deal with on 3rd down because they spread you so thin. You have to be worried about Cam Newton throwing the football. You got to be worried about him running the ball. There, Van den Bosch is in between Newton and Jonathan Stewart. You flip it to Stewart. Stewart does the rest.
And Carolina with a 1st down on the Lion 12. Short drop and taking off is Newton. And finally brought down for no gain. Nick Fairley was right on him. Fairley, of course, missing 5 games with a foot injury, who played with Newton at Auburn.
And they're very excited about Fairley, on the other side, and the Auburn teammates. Cam said, hey, he's one of my best friends in the world, but we can deal with that in the offseason. Right now, I'm trying to beat him. But Fairley gets the better of him right there. Great play by Fairley.
2nd down and 9.
Hey, 26, righty. 180.
Stewart, Jonathan Stewart, working his way inside the 10. It'll be 3rd down and long. Nick Fairley making the stop after a 2-yard pickup with 4.5 to play in the 1st quarter.
Dick, in the red zone here is where you miss the likes of a Jeremy Shockey. You miss him all over the field, but in particular in the red zone, a big target that's a mismatch with linebackers or DBs. You don't have Shockey. You got to rely more probably on LaFell, Steve Smith, of course, and Legadou Nene.
And let's not forget Greg Olsen, who's a good target as well. Shockey out with the rib injury, unable to go. First game he's missed, 8th play of the drive. And here is Newton's drilling way past Steve Smith, and had to get rid of it in a hurry. And Eric Wright was on the coverage, so that will bring up 4th down. And the Panthers will try to take the lead by virtue of a field goal as Murray enters.
Well, Dick Cam knows he's got a one-on-one. They're bringing an all-out blitz. He's got a one-on-one with Steve Smith, but again shoots it high. Been high a couple times. High's not a good thing to be. As I said, those turn into interceptions.
Murray has missed 4 field goals. This will be a 27-yard attempt, and the kick is good, and the Panthers take the lead 3-0. But I want to know why the Lions, against a team that doesn't defend the run well, passing so much. I'll ask John when we come back. Panthers take the lead first, capitalizing on that interception by Godfrey, and so Stefan Logan is waiting back in the end zone for Lindo Mare's kick. Panthers have lost 11 straight road games. And 3 this year. Another deep kick. Logan ran it out from 8 yards from the end zone, not this time. And will take it out at the 20. Matthew Stafford, who is 3 for 8 and 2 interceptions already, goes back to work.
There you go, knees! Sideline to sideline, from go home to go home. Let's go! Give everything you got. When it's all said and done, we gonna be on top. Let's go!
Well, the Lions revved up. Nate Burleson before the game. They've lost 3 out of 4, and there is the flip to Stefan Logan. Logan carrying for the 6th time, but the Panthers are there, led by Charles Johnson, and a loss of 2 on the play. Well, my question was, why don't the Lions run against the vulnerable defense like the Panthers instead of just throwing it up early?
No, I think Scott Linehan heard you. He ran right there. But no, I think it's a good question. And I think it's because the Lions are saying we got to be who we are. They feel like they have an advantage despite Carolina struggling against the run. They feel like they got an advantage in the passing game. You got the likes of Calvin Johnson. Problem is right now, Dick, I don't know if Matthew Stafford's right. 6 interceptions in 2 games after 4 through 8 games. Is the finger a problem? I think so.
Makes you wonder. 2nd down and 12. This pass is caught by Burleson and wrapped up by Chris Gamble close to the 1st down. And for a game break, let's check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt, welcome.
No surprise the Packers score first against Tampa. A surprise that it's B.J. Raji doing it. The nose tackle lined up at fullback, took it in from 1 yard out, and the Packers have a 7-0 lead over the Bucs. Dick and John, just what the Packer offense needs, right? Another weapon.
Very good, Kurt. 9-0 are the Packers. They play Thursday here on Fox. Detroit and the Bears trailing, but both would be in the playoffs if the season would end today in a fumble by Keelan Williams and recovered by the Panthers. And that is yet another turnover, the 3rd of the game by the Lions. And it was Andre Neblett, the defensive lineman, who recovered the fumble after the fumble by Williams, and Jordan Sin strongly in on this one to knock it away.
And you got to love Jordan Sin. He's getting his opportunity. This is a special teams player getting his opportunity to play because Dan Connor's hurt. He gets in the backfield. Andre Neblett, who's been playing more the last couple of weeks, right on the spot. The Panthers defense came to play today.
No question. And remember, John Beeson and Thomas Davis lost for the year, 2 of the better linebackers in the league. And now Carolina again in Lion territory. 1st down at the 29. D'Angelo Williams. And Williams picks up 9 on 1st down, and a flag is down. Louis Delmas making the play. Gene Steratore, the referee, and his crew.
They got Steve Smith on a hold at the wide receiver position.
Holding. Offense, number 89. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 1st down.
That's exactly what they got. Nullifying a 9-yard run by Williams.
We watch Steve Smith right down here. He's just going to get a handful of Eric Wright's neck. And Steve Smith, a very good football player, like Calvin Johnson, a complete player, takes pride in his blocking. Can't do that, though, Steve.
Not me, he said when he put his hands up, but he knew it was me.
They're always guilty when they do that.
First and 17. And here is the fake, and Cam Newton with the carry gets inside the 30 and gets 7 yards. Jim Schwartz and Ron Rivera. Lions turnovers, only 5 in the first 8 games, 9 in the last 2.
That's their formula for success. They came into the Chicago game last week with the best turnover margin in the league. Not so anymore.
Second down and 10. Lions get a great rush from their front 4. Movement, and a flag is down. And false start penalty against Carolina will be the call.
False start. Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's the left tackle, Jordan Gross. So 2 penalties on this drive, which started in Lion territory against Carolina. And because of the crowd here, 20 false start penalties at home, most in the league by foes of the Lions here.
They let the crowd know they need them. They take pride in it. They thrive on their crowd. It's tough for these opposing linemen. Jordan Gross, you aren't alone.
Second down and 15. They fake the screen to Steve Smith, and they go to Jonathan Stewart on the other side. Stewart breaking a tackle, has a first down. Well executed play and a great fake by Cam Newton. Tulloch eventually makes the play on Stewart after he gets 18 yards.
Well, really a great couple of fakes. He fakes to Stewart on the run, fakes the screen to Steve Smith, then runs the screen to the right. Jonathan Stewart, Handgartner, and Khalil out there in front. Jonathan Stewart really becoming a great receiver this year from the running back position. A very proficient team in their screen game.
103 total yards. Very versatile is Jonathan Stewart. So D'Angelo Williams checks back in, and a first down. And here is Newton with a lot of time and overthrows Greg Olsen near the goal line. That'll bring up second down and 10 with 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Dick, you're the Carolina Panthers. You're on the road. You've really taken control of this game. You've caused turnovers. Got to turn these into touchdowns. Field goals won't do it. Remember, Matthew Stafford's struggling, but this is a very explosive Detroit Lions offense. You got to turn these into touchdowns.
John, how many times have we seen games when it's 6-0 and all of a sudden a touchdown puts the other team ahead and they never trail after that?
You get them early or they'll get you late.
Second and 10 at the 15. Stewart. Pass. Caught. Touchdown, Steve Smith. And a flag is down inside the 5. Panthers have already committed 2 penalties.
Illegal contact, defense, number 21.
Not this time.
Penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Eric Wright with illegal contact declined, and the Panthers take a 9-0 lead.
Well, we've seen Cam Newton go after this matchup a couple of times. He's misfired, not right there. Puts a strike on Steve Smith. Right now, anytime you get Steve Smith one-on-one on Eric Wright, Cam Newton's going there. He finally was accurate with it, and it paid dividends.
Only caught 5 passes against the Titans last week, and that is his 5th touchdown catch of the year. Olindo Mare with the extra point, and with 35 seconds to go in this first quarter, this Ford Field crowd stunned as the Panthers have jumped in front of the Lions 10-0.
Look at the touchdown. Watch Cam Newton. He's clapping for the ball. They can't hear. They're going on a silent snap count. But look at that presence standing right in there. And what a beautiful pass. Cam Newton has impressed everybody with his ability to throw from the pocket. It doesn't hurt to have Steve Smith out there.
Not at all. Touchdown pass number 12 for Cam Newton. And a lot of people looking at the Panthers. They're maybe like a year or so behind what the Lions' progress has been. And following them, having the quarterback that they feel will be there for a while in a strong defensive front.
They made a bold move. A lot of people didn't agree with it, but they knew, Ron Rivera knew, Jerry Richardson, Marty Herney, that you have to build first with a quarterback. They believe they got a stud in Cam Newton, and I agree with them. Guy's a heck of a football player, having an outstanding rookie year.
And you know, people talk about the towel over his head. What's wrong with not liking to lose and expressing it the way you want? the way he does. Logan is back, and the Lions will get it at the 20. Well, this December, two of the most storied conferences in college football culminate their seasons with two epic championship games for the first time in their history. And Fox Sports will bring them to you on back-to-back nights. The Pac-12 championship game, that'll be Friday, December 2nd. And the Big Ten championship game, Saturday, December 3rd. Both games are only on Fox Sports.
What a crazy landscape in college football
Wow.
right now. No one wants to go to the national championship game, except LSU. They're taking care of it.
Alabama may be saying, can we get back in? First down from the 20. Completion to Brandon Pettigrew, and gets about 8 yards. That may be the last play of this first quarter, a 9-yard pickup for Stafford. And we have had already 4 turnovers in this game, and the Panthers have capitalized on 2 of them to get their 10 points. And that will be the last play of this first quarter. Steve Smith with the TD reception. That's the end of the first. 10-0 Panthers. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Now our crack research staff only goes back to 91. We have another group that's in the library checking to see what happened before 91. But first NFL team with 3 turnovers in their first 3 possessions. Lions with the handoff to Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith. Godfrey finally gets him from behind. And John, you were so right about what Kevin Smith means to the Lions after being the 3rd pick 3 years ago. What a burst.
Well, they really felt like they were impressed with the way he ran the football at Chicago his first game back. They felt like he had the look he had his rookie year, and he shows it right there, breaking out. And Scott Linehan is listening to you, Dick. He's getting back to the run to get them back into this game.
He's in trouble if he's listening to me. Kevin Smith, who re-signed with the Lions after a shoulder injury, was on IR. 1st and 10, and there is a fake end around, and the pass to Smith off the screen. Here is Smith following his blockers inside the 5. Touchdown Lions! "71 yards in 2 plays for Kevin Smith, and the Lions strike back quickly."
Well, tremendous design by offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. You're going to see Stephon Logan, the punt returner, come in. They use him as a decoy, fake the reverse, go to the screen. His offensive linemen are out in front of him. Kevin Smith really showing that he's back.
Jason Hanson makes it a 10-7 game. In his 3rd year from Central Florida, nearly a 1,000-yard rusher in his rookie year. How fast was this drive? 1 minute and 31 seconds, 3 plays, 80 yards. Kevin Smith, 28-yard catch, and had 71 total yards on the drive. And just like that, the Lions are back in it.
Everybody's been asking, how do you make up for the loss of Javid Best? And Kevin Smith says, look to me.
Hanson's kick. Kealoha Polaris on the return. Here's Polaris with Hanson, and now Polaris down the sideline may beat everybody. And Kealoha Polaris in for the touchdown. A 102-yard kickoff return.
Wow. Ron Rivera very upset with his team's ability to respond last week. When you get punched in the mouth, you got to respond. How about this? Polaris says, let me have at him. And Carolina, who's been so bad on special teams, gets right back after the Detroit Lions.
And Polaris, a 5th-round draft pick out of Hawaii. And he took the place of Mike Goodson as the returner, who is out. The kick is good. And Polaris, an explosive return.
Kevin Smith with the quick strike offense, but the Carolina Panthers respond.
And here is Polaris. First kickoff return touchdown since '03. Rod Smart. Remember him? He hate me. That's what he had on the back of his jersey. Polaris. Well, not in the NFL. And Polaris now is going to say they love me. Longest kickoff return in Panthers history, 102 yards. And Stephon Logan will run this out from about 8 yards in. Hemmed in and out of bounds. What a weird game we've had so far, right?
A lot of action.
4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 102-yard kickoff return, and we're just starting to get easy here. And the Lions trailing now 17-7 with the first down on their 15. Calvin Johnson moving closer to the line. Stafford. Down he goes. What's with the Lions, John? Offensively, defensively, and special teams.
Well, I think the Panthers came to play, and you're absolutely right. There's Danny Crossman, the special teams coordinator, trying to get things right, but they're being outplayed right now by the Carolina Panthers. And I told you in the open, forget about the Packers. They'll come on Turkey Day. They'll come on Thanksgiving. You got a game on your hands right now. And you got a lot of climbing uphill to get back in it.
You could preach to the teams all you want, but they know what's on the schedule.
Yes, they do.
Not saying they're looking past the Panthers. Second down and 15 after the first sack of the game, and flag goes down and a false start penalty marked off against the Lions. And the crowd showing its displeasure for the first time.
False start. Offense, number 16. 5-yard penalty.
It was the wide receiver, Titus Young. Early in the second quarter, yet this is what we have seen so far. 21 points combined in less than 2 minutes. 3 turnovers by the Lions. And Polaris, now they call it 101 yards officially, but still a Panthers record for kickoff. Second and 20. Back on the 5. From his end zone, quick toss, and the catch to Calvin Johnson, who is wrestled down, still about 12 yards shy of the first down by Omar Gaither.
One thing we do know about the Detroit Lions, though, Dick, they can get back in games in a hurry. A couple times earlier this year, down by 20 at Dallas. We did the Minnesota game. They came back and won those games. Stafford struggling. The turnovers that he protected the football so well early in the year. Now he's having problems. I think it coincides directly with him breaking that finger. At some point, you got to ask yourself, are we better off with Sean Hill out there? We'll see if he can get back on the way we're accustomed to him playing.
Third down and 12. Stafford can't find a receiver, and now is going to have to just take the loss. And McLean and Munnerlyn are there, gained 1 yard, but great coverage downfield by the Panthers. The Lions thought they could take advantage of the Carolina secondary.
Well, you get in 3rd and 10s again. Look at all these guys up there. They drop out. They're going to run a screen, but the D-line of Carolina all over it. Then Stafford tries to make something happen. Captain Munnerlyn says,
All he had to do was slow him down. So Ben Graham, former Australian rules kicker, punting, 3rd punter in as many weeks for Detroit, and Armonte Edwards going up the middle here. Here's Edwards, and he gets into Detroit territory to the 47. A 15-yard return after the 47-yard kick, and the Panthers leading by 10 in business once more. First down at the 48 of the Lions for the Panthers. Dominican Sue is out of the game, and the front 4 is Vanden Bosch, Williams, Fluellen, and Fairley right now.
Hey, 5-4, we're going 5-4. That's it. 180.
Fake to D'Angelo Williams, and the pass is caught by Richie Brockle, former Charger, who Ron Rivera is familiar with. Stephen Tulloch on the tackle and a pickup of 5.
You know, Dick, I think right now is a time that this defense needs to assert itself. I feel they've got the makings of a dominant group, and I think they've just been good this year. I think the run defense has been a big part of it, but right now, no better time for this defense to assert themselves, help get this team back in the game.
2nd down and 5. Here comes the blitz. Protected well. Here's Newton's pass downfield. And incomplete, intended for Greg Olsen. And good coverage downfield by the free safety, Louis Delmas.
Blitz pickup's been a problem the last couple of weeks for the Carolina offense. Good job by D'Angelo Williams in that front, giving Cam all the time he needed. He had a one-on-one situation with Greg Olsen. We'll see how that plays out. If you can protect the blitz, a lot of plays downfield to be made.
Now Stewart is in and Williams goes to the sidelines. 3rd and 5. Low snap. Newton trying to turn the corner and is out of bounds. Does not get to the 1st down. They mark it at the 43. Cliff Averill will get credit for the play and a gain of 1. So 4th down coming up and Carolina will punt.
Watch, they're going to bring a corner blitz. Eric Wright. That's going to flush Cam Newton out. And with his athleticism, he almost gets the 1st down, does step out of bounds. Otherwise, I'm not so sure he doesn't have it.
Here is Jason Baker to kick and Stephon Logan standing inside the 10-yard line. And it bounces and it's down. The 1.5 by Captain Munnerlyn, and a flag is thrown as well. Good coverage downfield by Munnerlyn, who was standing facing the field when he made the play. And one of the longer conferences to get it right. Gene Steratore.
Prior to the kick, illegal use of the hands to the face, defense number 96. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down, Carolina.
So the Panthers will get the ball after illegal hands to the face, which really upsets Jim Schwartz. So it's not Lions ball at the 1. Instead, the Panthers keep possession at the 37 of Detroit, leading by 10 in a very disconcerting 1st half, John, for Detroit.
And again, I say penalties like that are inexcusable. It's time for this defense to assert themselves. Otherwise, the Panthers will continue to grow their lead.
Now, before they get the play underway, there's another meeting. There you see Captain Munnerlyn coming out of the end zone to touch the ball, but the penalty by the Lions, and now we're set to go. Dominican Sue is back in the lineup in the defensive front for Detroit. John, frankly, I have no idea what the delay is here.
Well, the crowd's getting a little restless with these officials. They respotted the ball about 3 times. A lot going on down there for these officials. The important thing is they get it right.
180.
First down at the 37. And here's D'Angelo Williams with the carry. First down, Williams still in bounds. And Delmas finally gives him the shoulder as he is knocked out of bounds at around the 11-yard line. 26 yards by D'Angelo Williams. And Carolina Panthers running the ball effectively in this half.
And we've talked about it, the Achilles heel of this Detroit Lions defense. Kyle Vanden Bosch flies upfield, almost makes the play in the backfield, but too big a hole. That shouldn't happen on a well-coordinated defense. On the run side of things, they are not well coordinated. They miss tackles. As a result, they give up a lot of yards, valuable yards in their running defense.
Lions are 27th coming in rush defense. And a first down. Here's Cam Newton taking off. And Cam Newton going into the end zone for the touchdown. You got to watch number 1. And he got away, put a move onto the outside. And the Panthers shocking this crowd and the Detroit Lions in this first half. And outplaying them, as John mentioned, in every phase of the game.
Ndamukong Suh had a chance at Cam Newton, but Cam Newton says, forget about this Tebow guy. I can run the football too, and uses his athleticism to expand the Panthers' lead.
8th rushing touchdown of the year for Newton, the extra point by Murray, and a 24-7 lead. And Cam Newton, who, by the way, was very impressed watching Tim Tebow beat the Jets, admired his will. Tebow should admire Cam Newton's will as well.
We're starting to see the reality of this NFL, that a running quarterback can do damage. And when you got guys this big, and Ndamukong Suh looks up in disbelief. Are you really, the quarterback's doing that? But Cam Newton, he's dancing in the end zone.
Sure is. An 11-yard scamper for the touchdown. 5 plays, 48 yards, as the Panthers started the drive in Lion territory. And that 8th rushing touchdown is the most by a rookie quarterback since the NFL merger in 1970. It's great to see our research people going back before 1991. I like that. So it's 24-7. Towels on his head, but he's happy.
Dick, I mentioned again, we've been here before with the Detroit Lions, and they've come back. This is a team very capable of getting back in the game, but right now they got to stop the Panthers that are hot.
Yeah, you're right, and it's early enough to do that. With 9.5 to go in the second quarter, Logan again will down it, and will take it out on the 20. And of course, you made the comment already with 2 interceptions thrown by Matthew Stafford. We talked about the glove on his finger. Tell me, you were a quarterback once. Tell me what it's like not to have that index.
Well, I don't have the gloves, but I do know that this finger right here, the index finger, that's your power finger throwing the football. Everybody remembers Terry Bradshaw. Our Terry Bradshaw used to put his finger on the point, but that is your power finger. If your pinky's hurt, no problem. It's tough to throw the football that way. I think it's affecting Matt Stafford. How else do you explain 6 interceptions in 2 weeks after 4 through 8 games?
Is it getting velocity on the ball?
I think it's velocity, accuracy, all of the above.
First down, Stafford completes it to Calvin Johnson, breaks a couple of tackles, and taken down by Chris Gamble after a gain of 17. Let's go down to the field to Jennifer Hale.
Well, Dick, here's a closer look at one of the gloves Matt Stafford is wearing. He tells me after he broke his finger, it was his idea to try wearing gloves. The first pair he picked up was a pair of receiver gloves, and the palms were just way too tacky. These leather ones, much better, much smoother, better for a release. They're Kyle Vanden Bosch's gloves, actually. Problem is they don't make them anymore, so very valuable items for both guys. Dick?
All right, Jennifer, thank you. As Kevin Smith on the handoff goes outside, but the Panthers playing alertly. Tackled by Charles Johnson, and a gain of only 2.
Look at the original injury of Matthew Stafford. It was 3 weeks ago in Denver. We were doing this game, Dick. Von Miller comes in. They hit hand-to-hand, and Matt Stafford felt it right away. He made it through the rest of the game, actually threw a long touchdown to Calvin Johnson without the use of his index finger, just used the 4 fingers he had. But I think this is real. I think it's significant. And the Lions are finding that out.
8 for 13 for 108 yards, 1 TD and 2 picks. And Stafford stepping up and now going down. He stepped up to the pocket, and Thomas Kaiser, who lost his helmet in the process, making the tackle, and that is the gain of only 1. No sack on the play because he picked up a yard.
And watch Kaiser. This is a guy who has impressed the staff with his work ethic on the practice squad. He's relentless, high motor, good coverage down the field, and Thomas Kaiser comes in and delivers the sack.
And let me correct that. It's the 2nd sack and a loss of 4 yards on the play. There are no pluses there, and very few pluses for the Lions today.
Under pop.
3rd and 12. Pressure on Stafford again, and this time he gets the ball out to Nate Burleson. And Burleson gets the first down right at the midfield mark. With under 7.5 to play in the first half, he gets 15 yards to keep it going for the Lions.
Now, one of the things Matthew Stafford said we're missing most from Javid Best is his work as a receiver. So what do? You put Nate Burleson, a wide receiver, in the backfield as a running back. He replaces Javid Best. The result's a first down.
And you know, Burleson and Titus Young combined for 15 catches against the Bears, so they got other ways to go, as you mentioned, other than Calvin Johnson. First down. Pressure from the secondary is picked up effectively by the Lions and knocked away. Pass was intended for Will Heller, and a good defensive play made that time. See who broke in front.
Watch Stafford deliver it.
Wow. Charles Johnson.
It's Charles Johnson, a little zone dog back there. Charles Johnson, a former teammate of Matthew Stafford, almost intercepts his college teammate at Georgia for the 3rd time today.
The numbers for Stafford with 2nd down and 10 from midfield. Johnson goes out. This pass is caught by Nate Burleson, who was hit immediately at the 45. Martin and Gaither making the play.
And prior to the injury, 3rd down's been a struggle for Matthew Stafford and this Detroit Lions defense, or excuse me, offense all year. This is the last ranked 3rd down team in the league. You look at Matthew Stafford on 3rd down, 45% completion, 5 interceptions on the year, 56.3 rating. He's much better than that. 3rd down, you have to be effective to play at a high level.
Needs 5 yards, and this pass caught for the first down by Tony Scheffler inside the 40 to the 38, getting 7 yards, with R.J. Stanford making the play, and the Lions trying to come back. And so true that you don't get comfortable with a lead against the Lions, especially on the road, especially when you still have 5+ to go in the second.
And if I'm Ron Rivera and Sean McDermott, their defense coordinator, stay aggressive. It's tough to do with Calvin Johnson out there, but you got to stay aggressive. You can't go into prevent mode.
Well, their defensive ends, though, are putting a quick rush on. And once again on Stafford, who completes to a wide open Rashid Davis. And Davis is out of bounds at the 23 by James Anderson. And they get a chunk of yards here, 15 all told.
Well, coverage drop. When a guy's this wide open, this is a missed assignment. Rashid Davis surprises himself. He's so wide open. But that also is part of the effect. Remember, the first 2 plays of the game, they went deep. Carolina very conscious about not getting beat deep. It opens it up underneath.
We got under pop.
Panthers have outgained the Lions considerably thus far in a first down at the 23. Going underneath to Smith. And Kevin Smith is downed about a couple of yards shy of the first down by Captain Munnerlyn. Looks like they'll give him 9, bringing up 2nd and 1. Captain Munnerlyn, who's had a quad injury. And big question at 5'8", Chris Gamble at 6'1", about who's going to be the guy to defend the dangerous Calvin Johnson.
It's been Chris Gamble. most of the time when they've decided to put him on one-on-one, they've decided to do it with Chris Campbell. There's the matchup right there.
Story of the game, the turnovers. Kevin Smith, he'll get the first down and moves to the 11. Andre Neblett on the stop, a pickup of 3 yards. Kevin Smith looks like the job at best out of there. He's going to be the man running. He has rushed for 48 yards on 3 carries, including a 43-yard scamper.
And he looks good doing it. Last year, he had come off a torn ACL. They feel he's fully recovered now. He's got a burst to his step, running strong.
So now Maurice Morris gives Smith a breather. 11th play of the drive. On first down at the 11. Stafford again going underneath to Maurice Morris. And Morris is tackled 3 yards shy of the goal line by James Anderson. But the Lions are on verge of moving closer to the Panthers. Gain of 8.
And Stafford doing the smart thing. You're struggling with interceptions, throw the ball underneath. Safe throws, get it to your playmakers' hands and let them work in space. They've done a nice job of that on this drive.
Second down and 2 from the 3, and the touchdown, Titus Young. And the Lions have scored both of their touchdowns in a short amount of time. 3-yard play. And now the crowd becomes alive again.
This is what you call a now route. Right now, he's going to go. Matt Stafford gets him the ball. Nice drive by Matthew Stafford. Good design, taking advantage of the underneath space that the Panthers are giving them.
For Titus Young, his second TD catch of the year. And for Stafford, that is his 22nd touchdown throw. And Jason Hanson looking to turn this game into a 10-point contest. And he does. And the Panthers lead now is 24-14.
Titus Young, the rookie receiver from Boise State, catches it. Says they got the Lambeau leap. How about the Ford Field flop? Look at that vertical. Little taller wall here in Detroit than in Green Bay, but he gets up there.
I wonder if they practice that. Cam Newton, who's 6 for 11 for 80 yards. Getting set to lead the Panthers again with 2:57 to go. Here's the scoring drive, 80 yards. So 2 80-yard drives by the Lions today. And Stafford on the mark, 8 of 9 during it.
But to take advantage of it, you got to cover on special teams and you got to step up your defensive effort for the Detroit Lions.
So the 22nd touchdown pass, most of the season by a quarterback for Detroit since Scott Mitchell's team record 32 back in '95. Kealoha Polaris, who returned the kick 101 yards for a touchdown. Now all eyes on him as he runs it out from 5 yards in the end zone and is buried before he gets to the 15. Thanksgiving night, Fox presents an all-new holiday special. Kick off the season with Ice Age, A Mammoth Christmas. The original cast returns with a present you can't miss. Ice Age, A Mammoth Christmas, a special event for the whole family this Thanksgiving at 8, 7 Central on Fox. Well, John, now the Panthers in the last 3 minutes of this first half. And look at this turkey day early, right? I don't think Carolina can afford a quick 3 and out. No. Hand off to Williams. And Williams will lose. Corey Williams comes in on the play, and a loss of 3.
Corey Williams and Ndamukong Suh get so much of the attention, and rightly so, on this front four for the Detroit Lions, but Corey Williams has been outstanding all year. The numbers don't necessarily reflect it, but I promise you the players he plays against, Ryan Khalil, those guys know.
Low snap on 2nd and 13, and the catch by Brandon LaFell gives ground, and his forward progress will be at the 19. Chris Houston making the play, and we're down to the 2-minute warning here in the first half. 101 kickoff, return for a touchdown, 4 turnovers in the game, and the Panthers in a surprise up by 10. You'll want to stick around for the Visa halftime report with our guys with highlights and chatter. Adrian Peterson injury update. Bengals battling the Ravens in an AFC North game. 3rd down and 5, 2 minutes to go in the first half. Here they come. And the pass downfield, flag is down, and Steve Smith defended down there by Eric Wright, and a flag is thrown. And somebody pushed off.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 21, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Eric Wright. Illegal contact on Steve Smith.
And remember, you can only contact the receiver within 5 yards, clearly outside of 5 yards. The official right on it. And Eric Wright says, I didn't do it, but yes, you did. Guilty.
Only a 5-yard penalty, but it's a first down. Steve Smith has just caught 2 for 14 yards. Lions, 31 defensive penalties this year. That's second most. From the 24, and the screen pass to Jonathan Stewart. And Stewart is brought down by DeAndre Levy at the 26, picking up nearly 3.
And I like the Panthers. You want to put more points on the board before half. You don't want to sit on this lead because you're playing against the Detroit Lions.
2nd and 7. And this pass caught, and it will be a first down. Greg Olsen makes the grab, and a tough grab it is, with the Levy and McDonald all over him.
Panthers still have all 3 timeouts at their disposal.
And chewing up the clock and gaining ground. Here's another screen pass to Jonathan Stewart. And Stewart with a good fake and goes out of bounds, and he'll have another first down as he gets to midfield, stops the clock with 1:04 remaining. Eric Wright missed the tackle on Jonathan Stewart, who gets 11 yards. And we said no 3 and out because the Lions had some momentum, and now that's been blunted by the Panthers.
Absolutely, and a real smart play by Jonathan Stewart. He preserves all 3 timeouts, getting out of bounds. You get your yards, get the first down, then get out of bounds. Good position for the Panthers right now. Ron
Rivera said he was disappointed that for the first time all year he had to deal with a lack of mental and physical toughness. That's not been the case today for them, at least in this half.
Not at all.
First down. Newton drills it off the hands of Brandon LaFell. He was there to make the catch, and Newton's pass found him, and an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, on a dangerous throw. I love aggressiveness, but this is a dangerous throw right now. It goes right over Stephen Tulloch's hands. Cam Newton's got to protect the football. You want points on the board. You're close to field goal range.
58 seconds. And 3 timeouts remaining. As John mentioned, Newton caught by Legadou Nane, his first catch of the game, and he's close to a first down near the 44. Clock will stop at 49 seconds.
First charge timeout, Carolina.
And the Panthers with their first timeout. Once again, coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy, scores and highlights from around the league. Got Dallas and Washington going at it, Cincinnati and Baltimore. And all of that coming up on the Visa halftime report. Adrian Peterson, the latest on him. Now, Ron Rivera's had this team respond in a big way.
Well, you know, he challenged his team this week. He didn't like the way they handled themselves last week in a tough loss to Tennessee. Not so much the score, he said, that happens, but the way we responded or didn't respond, and his team has answered the challenge today.
You said it at the top, took it on the chin. 3rd and 1. They are not in field goal range right now. And here is the handoff, first down by Jonathan Stewart, but they're getting there. 43 seconds and running. Nick Fairley on the tackle after the gain of 2. And now the Panthers will call their second timeout, leaving them with 1.
Really impressive time management. Remember, you have a rookie quarterback, and as much as we rave about Cam Newton, these are tough situations, but he handles it all so gracefully. 2-minute drill, one of the toughest, no huddle offense. Great clock management. Now they're still in position, 42 seconds left. You still have 1 timeout. Great position for the Carolina Panthers.
And you know, Ron Rivera told us that the team is starting to take on more of Cam Newton's personality, which is a positive sign.
Yeah, and a lot of that, you know, people have criticized him for how he's just disdain for losing. And Ron Rivera says, last I checked, that's a good thing. You know, I love guys who don't want to lose. And the team really is starting to take on that part of Cam Newton's personality. And I agree, that's a really good thing.
10th play of this drive on the 43 of the Lions. Here they all come. And the pass is caught by Steve Smith in stride as he gets inside the 25 before Eric Wright tackles him. And that was hitting the hot receiver, if there ever was one, at a gain of 20.
Now they're going to spike the football. Still keep that 1 timeout.
Did they send 11? No, they didn't. It looked that way.
Well, Dick, you were on it. Watch all these guys. They're coming. But look at the blitz pickup by the Carolina Panthers. Everybody accounted for. Chris Harris coming from the safety position too late. And when you're bringing that many people, you've got Steve Smith one-on-one, and he's winning that matchup right now with Eric Wright.
3rd catch of the game for Smith. First down with 21, or second down, I should say, with 21 seconds to go after they clocked the ball. 1 timeout left for Carolina. Cam Newton pulls it down and goes out of bounds, gets to the 20. So the Panthers know they're in field goal range here after the 3-yard pickup and stopping the clock with 15 seconds.
Kyle Vandenbosch right now has got his hands up in the air. He felt like he was held by Jordan Gross. This Detroit defensive line so accustomed to getting there, and you really got to hand it to this Carolina Panthers offensive line. They're doing a tremendous job of protecting Cam Newton.
Lions look winded a little bit trying to chase Newton.
Remember, they're without 2 of their backup defensive ends, and they really aren't backups on this team. They play 8. Lawrence Jackson out, as is Willie Young.
3rd down and 7. And the pass thrown complete to Nene, and Nene close to the first down. That's not the big factor here. And 7 seconds to go, and there is the timeout. And the field goal team will be coming on for Carolina, I would think, with 5 seconds remaining. And that's the 3rd and final timeout for the Panthers.
There's offensive coordinator Rob Chudzinski. And I really think he's one of the more skilled offensive coordinators. What he's done with Cam Newton, building this offense, taking advantage of all his skills. They've got the drop back element. They've got Cam's plays from Auburn where they utilize his running ability. It's tough for a defense to deal with. You give a lot of credit to Cam Newton, but give a lot of credit to Rob Chudzinski for designing a system that takes advantage of all his many abilities.
Newton 13 of 20 for 145 yards. He has thrown a touchdown pass and had 1 picked off, and so Orlando Mare will be on to attempt a 31-yard field goal before intermission. Clicked on a 27-yarder earlier.
And the Lions had penetration, and I think the ball was even deflected. You could barely see it, but we'll watch that here.
And Maré's kick is good. And the Panthers, with time run out here, have taken a 27-14 lead. Visa halftime report coming up, but right now, let's send it to our studio and Kurt Menefee. Very few people anticipated this kind of a halftime score, with the Panthers leading by 13 over the Lions, who have lost 3 of their last 4 games. And so I don't know where to start, John, with talking about Detroit's problems. Carolina's playing good. We paid that off. But is Cam Newton too much for them right now as far as finding him?
Cam Newton's been really good, but they've been really good as a team. Carolina's done it on offense. They've done it on defense and on special teams. Where I like what they're playing and talking about responding up front, they're beating the Detroit Lions right now. The Detroit Lions are trying to counter with some blitz pressure, but then Steve Smith's torching their defensive back. So that's a problem. But I do know this about the Detroit Lions. This is an explosive offense. In the second half, Kurt hit it in the halftime show. This is the second best offense in the league in the second half. They're very capable. They got to get Calvin Johnson. 2 catches for Calvin Johnson right now. That's a problem for him.
And the Panthers have to know what's coming. I'm sure that during intermission, Ron Rivera says, hey, look, we haven't gotten their best shot yet.
Absolutely. They know that Calvin Johnson's coming their way. You got to keep him down. But you see the interceptions early. James Anderson, Charles Godfrey, Matthew Stafford, a little miscommunication with Calvin Johnson. The fumble forced by Jordan Sin. Carolina taking advantage of it. And then more miscues for the Detroit Lions. Kealoha Polaris takes back a 101-yard kickoff return. Detroit's got to clean all that up.
Turnovers, 3 by the Lions, resulting in 10 points. And then on top of that, you had the special teams breakdown, so to speak, on Polaris's return. So that's the story right now. And it's been an entertaining I do to follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. And it'll be the Panthers who will get the ball first when we start the second half. And right now, let's check in with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Dick, Jim Schwartz tells me the Lions' problem is not Matt Stafford's finger. He's completing about 70% of his passes. Schwartz says instead it is turnovers and special teams play. His message to his team at halftime, he told his defense, you got to get out there and stop the run. For his offense, he said, hey, start sustaining our drives. Ron Rivera obviously pleased with where his Panthers stand, but he said they've got to set the tempo coming out. He's very pleased with how Cam Newton has been getting the ball out quickly. Guys?
Nah, it may not be the finger for Matthew Stafford. It might be some other things as well, because Stafford, 15 of 21, started to turn it on late.
Well, Matthew Stafford has been efficient, but the turnovers, hey, there's no wind in Ford Field. This is inside, and Matthew Stafford's starting to bounce back, and we'll see if he can, but I got to believe the finger somehow has affected him. I admire him for his toughness.
Polaris is back. And we'll down it there, and the Panthers will start from the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the offensive leaders for the Panthers, who are looking for their first road win of the year. Cam Newton and D'Angelo Williams rushing-wise, although Stewart has been effective as a receiver. And Steve Smith with 3 catches for 34 yards, including a touchdown catch. Newton threw to Smith for a score, ran for 11 for a score. And Carolina's got it done. Sue wants to make his presence felt. We did not mention his name except to say he was out of the game in that first half. Steve Smith in motion. First down. Newton has Smith. And Smith, let's see if he ran out of bounds. He did, shy of the first down. He got about 7, however, with Eric Wright, but on him all day.
And the same theme that happened in the first half. Up front, Carolina doing a nice job of giving Cam Newton time. And right now, Eric Wright can't cover Steve Smith. That's an underneath throw. He does a nice job of getting him out of bounds, but Steve Smith we'll see that matchup continue to show itself.
Smith, the second leading receiver in the league, coming in. 2nd and 3. Here's Williams, burst up the middle and gets a first down. Kyle Vanden Bosch, and 5 or 6 yards and a first down for Carolina out to the 33.
You talk about winning the line of scrimmage. Watch this offensive line and look at the gaping hole. And Ndamukong Suh in there, they double team him. Corey Williams gets cut off backside. This Carolina offensive line doing a great job, pass protection, but also in the run blocking.
Williams has averaged 10.5 yards per carry. And Nene goes in motion, first down. 2 tight ends. Cam Newton flush from the pocket. Penalty flag is down on the far side at the 32. And Newton going out of bounds as well.
One of them is going to be a hold on Jordan Gross on Vanden Bosch, but there's 2 flags, I think 2 separate flags.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal motion, offense number 17, penalties declined. Also holding, offense number 69, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
They take the holding penalty on Jordan Gross.
Well, Jordan Gross looking at the Jumbotron, but that's what Kyle Vanden Bosch does to you. He keeps coming. This guy is relentless. He puts pressure on you. And Jordan Gross gets a handful, and Gene Steratore right on it.
Yeah, good call there.
D'Angelo Williams messing with the big boy.
Stay away from him. 4th penalty of the game on the Panthers. Lions have committed 3. First down and 20. And here is Jonathan Stewart, and he is hit behind the line and gets a few extra yards. So Delmas had penetrated and could not bring down Stewart, who ends up with a gain of 5.
We're watching Ndamukong Suh right here. We saw D'Angelo Williams hit him. Now he's going to go get his buddy. You keep playing as a defensive lineman, good things happen. Vanden Bosch and Ndamukong Suh very capable of taking over a game.
4 turnovers in the game. 1 by the Panthers, 3 by the Lions. On 2nd and 15, another low snap. Steve Smith hit immediately by Eric Wright. Good play by the Lions corner, and holds Smith to no gain.
Outstanding play by Eric Wright. And that's a big part of the Carolina Panthers offense. Steve Smith, a former punt returner, that's how he came into the league. Oftentimes just get him the ball in space and let good things happen. But you take the fight to him, as does Eric Wright, gets him in the backfield, doesn't allow him to get going.
You know, a lot of these snaps to Newton have been low.
You're right. Ryan Khalil's been struggling with these shotgun snaps.
3rd and 15. Crowd looking for the stop here. Another low snap to Cam Newton. Has a lot of time, drills it, and the pass is incomplete. And way off the mark. Steve Smith was there, Brandon LaFell downfield, and Amari Spivey was the closest to the ball.
It's actually Chris Harris who's now playing in there for Amari Spivey. We have to keep an eye on that, whether Spivey is injured or not. But Chris Harris, the longtime Chicago Bear, now in there, and that should have been an interception.
Jason Baker will punt to Stephon Logan, running up. Flag goes down. Let's see if we have a horse collar possibility here against Josh Vaughn. It looked that way. A 17-yard return by Logan, and then the penalty.
During the return, personal foul, horse collar tackle. Kicking team, 15-yard penalty at the end of the
Things will help on special teams. Not quite that way. And welcome back to Ford Field. And Matthew Stafford showing indications of a turnaround from his early struggles when he threw 2 interceptions. First down on the 30. Kevin Smith in the running back most of the time in this half. Here is Stafford throwing complete to Titus Young. And it'll get a first down inside the 20. Picking up 11 yards. Jordan Sen, the linebacker, put pressure on. Couldn't get to Stafford.
And I like what Scott Linehan did there. They moved Calvin Johnson inside the slot. If you look at Matthew Stafford, struggled early, but now he's really coming back, getting hot actually. 12 of 13 with 2 touchdowns after those first 3 drives. But got to find a way to get Calvin Johnson involved in this game.
From the 19, first down Lions. And the screen to Burleson. And Burleson goes down. He started running toward the line as if it was going to be an end around, fake or handoff, and then he backed up and got the ball and got 3 yards.
You know, it's funny how this is a copycat league. I studied these guys earlier, and Dallas did this exact same play to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions say it works so well, let's try it ourselves. But really, you got to hand it to the Carolina Panthers. They were in a zone defense as opposed to a man where that would have worked effectively.
5 catches for Burleson. He leads the Lions in that department.
Double.
2nd and 7, and the pass to Burleson. Burleson inside the 10, the 5, and he is over for the touchdown. Beware of the Lions in the second half. 16 yards.
To grab the laces, and look at Calvin Johnson clearing the way. Even when Calvin's not getting the ball, he's involved in the game. Great job by Calvin Johnson and by Nate Burleson running the football.
And Jason Hanson brings the Lions to within 6 with nearly 5 minutes gone by here in this third quarter. The Lions knocking on the door. Carolina leads, but Detroit storming back. Well, this is something that was telegraphed first by Kurt Menefee and then backed up here that the Lions have outscored their opponents by 97 points in the second half, largest differential in the league, and down by only 6 as Polaris is going to down it at the back of the end zone. Hanson with the beat kick, and here is that score again.
Well, we've got a football game here in Detroit, and Matthew Stafford, watch him. He illustrates the play with his right hand, but then he goes to give that high five. He says, let's go with the left. But somehow he's making this thing work. He's getting hot. The Carolina Panthers better keep scoring because Detroit's coming.
First down from the 20. Cam Newton, and going deep to Steve Smith, and out of bounds was Smith. And the pass is incomplete. Eric Wright on the coverage.
Base, defense number 90. 5-yard
And now the penalty on
automatic,
Ndamukong
first down.
Suh. Illegal hands to the face, and so instead of 2nd and 10 back at the 20, we'll have a first down now for the Panthers on the penalty.
When you watch Ndamukong Suh right in the middle, working against Handgartner, the right guard, and he's got his hands right to his face. I promise you that's something Handgartner told the umpire about. Watch it, keep an eye on this, and they were right on it.
And a first down at the 25. D'Angelo Williams. And not much there. He's had a good game. What did Sue tell us the other day? He says, I guess I'm the villain of the league. Now, James Harrison, last year, this year it's me. Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL now.
You can talk about villain all you want. All I know, we haven't called his name a lot today, but he's always a factor. This guy's an outstanding football player. He plays it nasty. I don't think it's dirty at all. He's a great football player.
You showed us a play last night from a previous game when he Olsen And 3rd down and 9 coming up. Carolina seems to have stumbled a little bit and stalled.
And watch Sue right here on the pressure. He drives Handgartner. No hands to the face. Right back into the lap of Cam Newton. Cam can't step forward. And Ndamukong Suh announcing his presence.
Panthers are 2 for 7 on 3rd downs. They need 9. And Newton's throw off the hands of Steve Smith. He was free near the sideline and couldn't hold on, and that'll bring up 4th down. And
everything you want from Carolina. Great protection, great throw. Steve Smith, an outstanding receiver. He knows he should have caught that. You don't see that much from Steve Smith. But that's big. Detroit's right back in this game. Big mistake by Steve Smith.
And the Panthers losing some of their spark here. And a lot of time left in the 3rd as the punt going to Stephon Logan at the 24. Logan breaks a couple of tackles and does a good job to get up to the 34-yard line. So Sue becoming more of a factor in this game, was called for a penalty, but he's relentless here. We'll be back after this.
I'm going to see you on the end zone. Make sure you play it in slow motion. My kids like to see me on my highlights.
And he found the end zone. Huh?
Ask and you shall receive.
Right. Now the Lions are a touchdown and an extra point away from taking the lead. Stafford starts this drive with 9 straight completions. What a turnaround for him after throwing 2 picks early on. From the 34, here's Kevin Smith. And Smith gets some yardage, and Neblett missed the tackle. And Omar Gaither finally made it, but not before. Kevin Smith picks up 9. Lions have been a passing team all season long and are again today.
But you continue to run the ball effectively. What that does, it pulls the safety up into the picture. That gives you the one-on-one with Calvin, the opportunity to go up top.
Now Maurice Morris in the backfield. Burleson fake on the end around. Stafford drills it, caught at the 35 by Calvin Johnson. And Johnson thrills the crowd as he gets to the 31. James Anderson brings him down in a 26-yard pickup, and the Lions may be on the verge of taking a lead in this game.
It doesn't take much, but you got to show the run, because when you show the run here, they fake a reverse. It pulls the linebackers up. It opens up a void behind the linebackers, and you can get Calvin Johnson free. And Calvin Johnson doing an outstanding job of blocking, because he's been quiet as a receiver. But when he gets his opportunity, he makes the most of it.
3 catches, 51 yards, the longest 26. And a first down at the 31 of the Panthers. And here's Maurice Morris. Morris with a first down, drives the defense down to about the 15. Captain Munnerlyn, a 16-yard gain. Kurt Menefee, what do you have?
Well, with the Steelers on a bye, the winner of the Ravens and Bengals will be tied for the top spot in the AFC North. Cedric Benson trying to do his part. He's got 2 touchdowns today. That one pulls the Bengals to within 3, 17-14 in the 3rd quarter. Dick and John.
All right, Cincinnati, huh? Dalton, what a story for them.
He's playing great football, as is his team.
First down at the 15. Lions trailing by 6. Kevin Smith. And he gets about 3. Thomas Kaiser making the tackle.
Let's go back to a couple plays ago. Matt Stafford delivers the strike to Calvin Johnson, but goes down hard on that hand and playing with those gloves. It stings every time he takes a little hit on that. Gene Steratore, they take care of those quarterbacks, don't they? I'd never had a referee do that to me.
You didn't ask. Asking you shall receive. 2nd down and 7 from the 12. Lions were down by 10. A flag is down, and false start penalty against the Lions.
False start. offense number 87. 5-yard penalty.
It's Brandon
Second
Pettigrew,
down.
the tight end. So the Lions were down 10-0, 17-7, 24-7, and we're down by 13 points. And a touchdown here and an extra point, and they're in front. Jim Schwartz looks like a patient man kneeling over there. Not so patient as Mr. Rivera. 2nd and 12. Stafford. And off the fingers of Will Heller. With 6:02 to go in the third quarter, it'll be 3rd down and 12. And now what the Panthers dearly want to do is force the Lions to try for just 3.
Absolutely, or create a turnover. When you get
Right.
these 3rd and long situations, that's when turnovers can often come. We'll see if they bring pressure. Typically, Sean McDermott brings a lot of pressure on 3rd down.
Good improvement today from last week for Stafford on 3rd downs. Third down and 12, and the pass caught, touchdown, Tony Scheffler. Now he had to rehearse that thing a little bit. I mean, he had to go to New Haven off Broadway, really work on that move.
You watch Scheffler working in the slot. Outstanding football anticipation and accuracy by Matthew Stafford. The fingers bothering him. He's battling through it, and he is hot right now.
And Jason Hanson to give the Lions their first lead of the game, and he does. Lions lead the Panthers by 1, 28-27. Dancing in Detroit, Scheffler with his 5th touchdown catch of the game. That's 2nd to Calvin Johnson. Detroit on top. Did not. He caught the touchdown pass. Stafford's 4th TD of the day, and the Lions lead at 28-27. Polaris will down it 5 yards in the end zone. He returned a kick for a score, 101 yards in the first half.
Here's the big 3rd down we talked about. Cam Newton delivers a strike, and drops happen. This was a critical one, though. And Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions capitalized on it with a touchdown to Tony Scheffler. I've never talked so much about gloves. We've talked about Matthew Stafford and his gloves. Steve Smith drops an important pass. He goes and gets a new pair of gloves.
5 TD catches for Scheffler. Sammy Hill is in for Ndamukong Suh for the Lions on 1st and 10 from the 20. And here is Jonathan Stewart, and he picks up a couple. Andre Fluellen, and you're right, with Lawrence Jackson and Willie Young out of action today, John. Fluellen seeing a lot more action, and Suh hasn't been out there on this beginning of the series.
They rotate a lot at the defensive line. Nothing in Ndamukong Suh. He's healthy. They rotate. What the Lions have done now, though, they've started to play the run better. They're playing the run defense has gotten more stout. They replaced Amari Spivey with Chris Harris, and the team's responded.
2nd down and 8. Handoff to Stewart. And Stewart gets it out to the 25. Spivey, by the way, not hurt because he's been playing on special teams. They just brought in Harris, the former Bear, because Spivey, as we saw earlier, had struggled. And once again, though, the Lions have allowed another 100-yard rushing performance. That makes it 9 straight games, longest streak in the NFL. Down and 5. Newton has a lot of time. Where does he go with it? Nowhere. Yet. Unbelievable. I'm amazed. And the flag is down. I'm amazed that Newton even got away from that. Pressure by Sammy Hill and Nick Fairley. And it looked like he was going down for a big loss, spun away, and got the ball downfield.
We'll see. Cliff Averill slung Cam Newton out of bounds, and I think Gene Steratore is calling a roughing the passer. Watch the end of this play. Cliff Averill has him.
Foul. Horse collar tackle.
It's a horse collar.
Defense number 92. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And the fans can boo all they want. Horse collar's a horse collar. When you pull a guy from inside the jersey or inside the shoulder pad and he abruptly comes down, they're going to call that. That's the rules. And this lack of discipline has hurt the Detroit Lions many times this season.
And there's no question you can argue the call. See the way the neck went. That's dangerous. And a first down, they mark it off, and you're right, the Lions defense closing in on those runs, holding Williams to a 3-yard gain thanks to Justin Durant.
And D'Angelo Stewart looked like he was shot out of the cannon. D'Angelo Williams, excuse me, but so does Justin Durant. I'm getting everyone, calling everyone Stewart, but that's great football on both ends.
Hey, we know one's a runner and one's a linebacker making the tackle. Second down and 7. This crowd certainly has been revved up with the Lions coming back in this game. Play action. And Cam Newton's pass caught by Nene, and another flag is down right about the 40-yard line where the line of scrimmage was. 26-yard game pending.
Defense number 93. Penalty is declined. The result of the play.
So offside, I should say, on Kyle Vanden Bosch. And the 26-yard play will stand.
Here's Kyle Vanden Bosch. And quarterbacks see these things. When you see the early flag for offsides, you know you've got an opportunity. You've got a free shot to take the ball down the field. Cam Newton does that and throws a strike to Legadou Nene.
And now the Panthers are on the 31 of the Lions. Under 3.5 to go. And the end around to Steve Smith. Steve Smith gets hit by Louis Delmas and going out of bounds. They got about 5 yards on that.
A lot going on there on that play. They're in the Wildcat. Jonathan Stewart takes it. Jonathan Stewart lined up at the quarterback position. Going to take it, fake it to Nene, actually give the ball to Nene. Steve Smith comes around. What a great play by Delmas, coming out of nowhere to prevent a large gain.
Boy, did Cam Newton and Tim Tebow and a lot of others change the kind of offense we see these days, huh? Second down and 5. Play action, and the interception by DeAndre Levy. And Levy is brought down at the 21, and it was Ndamukong Suh who created it all by coming in and providing the hit on Cam Newton, whose throw was picked off by Levy, and the 5th turnover of the game, the 2nd by the Panthers.
Well, you're absolutely right. Put that on Ndamukong Suh. Runs right by Jeff Hangartner. He gets singled for one of the first times in the game. That leads directly to that interception. Cam Newton got to protect the football better. It's easy to say, tough to do with Ndamukong Suh bearing down on you.
Even if you're a big quarterback, right? So the 2nd interception today by Cam Newton. And now the Lions with 2:37 remaining in the 3rd. First down on the 21. Handoff to Kevin Smith. You get the feeling without Javid Best, who's out for the 4th straight game, that the go-to guy in the backfield will be Kevin Smith now. There are the 5 turnovers, and they have resulted in 10 points for Carolina. And Omar Gaither is the injured Panther. We're going to take a break and return to Ford Field after this. Omar Gaither on the sidelines, and remember, this is a team that lost John Beeson, as well as the outside linebacker Thomas Davis and
Dan Connor as well.
Yeah,
he's the last one standing.
Keon Wilson former Charger is the last one standing. Jason Williams would have gone in. Instead, they've gone with the extra back on 2nd down and 6 from the 25. Stafford off the hands of Titus Young, and a flag is down. Stafford, since his 2nd interception of the game, is 16 of 19.
Prior to the pass,
4 touchdowns.
holding defense number 93, 5-yard penalty, automatic.
Antoine
first down.
Applewhite holding. It'll be a first down, and we check in with Kurt Menefee and a game break.
And we check in with the Cowboys and Redskins. Tony Romo, looking like Tony Romo, scrambling and then finding a receiver, LaRon Robinson, in the end zone. His 5th touchdown in the last 4 games, ties it all at 17 apiece as they start the 4th quarter. Dick and John.
All right, thank you, Kurt. Heard you say starting the 4th quarter, handoff to Kevin Smith. And we're not yet into the 4th quarter as Godfrey and Sen make the tackle, a gain of 3. In the NFC East, the Giants have a 1-game lead over the Cowboys, and they're the Eagles and the Redskins at 3 and 6.
And Philadelphia, no Vick, no Michael Vick at the quarterback position, no Jeremy Maclin. Deshaun Jackson is back.
Playing the Giants later. There's Gaither being worked on. 2nd down and 7.
Hey, 57! Rookie!
Stafford going underneath again, has Burleson, who is put down by Greg Hardy, the defensive end, but gets 5 yards.
This is what people are talking about when they're talking about playing in the NFL. In the NFL's like being in a car wreck 10 times. Look at his neck snap. Greg Hardy, a big boy, putting a big blow on Nate Burleson.
Interesting, John, in this game, 4 touchdown passes by Stafford, none to Calvin Johnson. He's got Smith, Young, Burleson, and Scheffler. So you talk about a lot of places to go for Stafford. 3rd down and 2. Pressure put on Stafford. And this pass is going to be caught by Titus Young. Flag is down, and another hit put on. After the play, R.J. Stanford was on the coverage, and Sherrod Martin put a hit on Young after he made the catch. It would be 42
Pass
yards.
interference. Offense, number 16, 10-yard penalty. Replay,
And it's
3rd
all for
down.
naught as Titus Young was pushing off on the play.
You know, I never thought I'd say this, but we're seeing this more in the National Football League. More offensive pass interferences calls. And watch at the end of this play. Not a whole lot there in my mind, and Matthew Stafford certainly doesn't agree. What a great throw by Matthew Stafford.
Could it have happened earlier, I wonder? Because you're right. Looked like they were both going for the ball and didn't see the shove. But in any event, the final seconds of this 3rd quarter, 3rd down and 12. Stafford again goes underneath Kevin Smith, and he'll be stopped about 3.5 yards shy of the 1st down, and that'll be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Jordan Hughes, backup safety, makes the play, an 8-yard pickup. We go to the 4th, 1-point game with the Lions in front. We start the 4th quarter, and the Lions, with 2 touchdowns in the 3rd after trailing by 13, have the lead by 1. Dick Stockton along with John Lynch and Jennifer Hale here at Ford Field. The Lions, who will be playing Thursday on Fox in a huge Thanksgiving Day game against the Green Bay Packers, who are currently undefeated and leading once again. Ben Graham will be punting to Armonte Edwards. Backing up is Edwards to the 14. Not a bad return for where he caught the ball. Carolina with the ball, down by 1. That was a real Lion, I know that. 28-27. And the Carolina Panthers will start from their 25.
And the Lions are acting like real Lions here in the 2nd half. 14 unanswered points.
They sure are. Cam Newton, 16 of 27, 178 yards. handing off to D'Angelo Williams. And a strong first down run. Levy making the stop, and Williams now with 72 yards. A lot of yards and good scoring in this game. Been a prolific scoring game.
The key is, we chronicled it throughout the day, those 3 turnovers happened in the very first 3 series. Since then, you talk about responding. Jim Schwartz wanted it from his team. They've done exactly that.
No question, second down and 3, and now they're looking for the stop against Cam Newton. Second and 3, look like pressure here, and Jonathan Stewart diving and will get the first down. Eric Wright, the tackle, gain of 5. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
If you saw our pregame show, you saw Tampa wide receiver Mike Williams running around shirtless in Green Bay. Maybe he knew something we didn't. That's his first touchdown reception since week 1. They missed the 2-point conversion, however, until it's 21-19, Green Bay holding on in the 4th. Dick and John.
Wow, just as everyone was dumping on Tampa Bay, as you look at the North, and Packers will play against the Lions here Thursday on Fox. First down at the 37. Play fake. Newton with time. Over the head of Steve Smith. Second down and 10 now.
This is the same route that Steve Smith dropped earlier. Look at that effort. Look how high he is. What an incredible athlete Steve Smith is. Cam Newton misfires. He had Steve Smith and missed him.
Smith has 5 catches for 41 yards. Had 5 for 33 last week against the Titans. But he has caught a touchdown pass from Cam Newton today. Second down and 10. Newton knocks it away. Did he get it to the line of scrimmage? That's the question.
The quarterback is still down by contact.
And now they say down by contact.
Sack.
Kyle
Third
Vanden
down.
Bosch got to him.
You know what they're talking about when they talk about a high motor with the defensive lineman being relentless. Kyle Vanden Bosch, this guy never quits. He keeps coming, and when you do that, good things happen. It's contagious for this team. All the other D linemen take on his personality. Kyle Vanden Bosch putting in great work.
And John, that's a 6th sack of the game, of the season that is, and Dominican Sue is 3rd on the line in sacks. They lose 8. 3rd down and 18. Newton with a long pass, and closest to it was Nene, and Houston and a few other Lions were defending on the play. Cliff Averill getting close to the Panthers QB.
And Vanden Bosch not satisfied. He's continuing to come. He's giving Jordan Gross all he can handle right now. Along with Cliff Averill putting pressure, doesn't allow Cam Newton to make a good solid throw.
So Jason Baker will be kicking to Stephon Logan on 4th down. We're still early in this 4th quarter, and the fair catch and the bounce takes a Carolina hop, and they'll down it there just beyond the 30-yard line. So now Matthew Stafford with 4 touchdown passes gets out on the field again. We've had just about everything in this game, and in the second quarter with 9 minutes to go, the Panthers were up by 17, and the Lions have outscored the Panthers 21-3 since. Omar Gaither back on the field at linebacker for Carolina. First down on the 31 for the Lions. Stafford up the middle, caught by Brandon Pettigrew and hit immediately by James Anderson. Pickup of 5.
There's some good football. It was sloppy early. Some good football being played right now, particularly from Matt Stafford. 19 of 21 since the first 3 drives. Excellent football by Matthew Stafford, playing with pain as well.
2nd and 5.
Dom, you want him to stay on it? No.
Kevin Smith breaks another one. Still going. Panther territory and pushed out of bounds by Sherrod Martin. And that'll be 19 yards for Kevin Smith, who has picked up 86 on the ground.
Well, football games are won and lost up front. Watch this block down on Terrell McLean from Stephen Peterman. He collapses him. Rob Sims gets up to the second level. And Kevin Smith goes about good running. That's excellent execution running the football for the Detroit Lions,
who have 106 yards rushing today. And by the way, Jeff Backus, the left tackle, Dominic Raiola, the center, have long streaks, durable guys up front for Detroit. First down on the 45 of the Panthers. They fake it to Smith, and Stafford completes the pass to Will Heller. Nice backhanded catch and a first down as we check in with Kurt Menefee and the game break.
Cowboys and Redskins, Tony Romo getting in the zone right now. His third touchdown pass of the day with a little help from his friend at tight end. Jason Witten, 59 yards on the score. Back-to-back touchdowns for the Cowboys, having them up by 7, 24-17 in the fourth quarter. Dick and John.
Romo zone is the end zone.
Kurt hit it best. His friend, Jason Witten. It's a good way to make friends, catch touchdowns for someone.
For years. First down. Quick toss. Calvin Johnson breaks a tackle. Calvin Johnson is down at the 25, about a couple of yards short of the first down by Jordan Sen, who started at middle linebacker for the injured Dan Connor, and an 8-yard pickup as Johnson was going to come off the field, and now he remains in there to the bottom of your picture. Second and 2. Kevin Smith up the middle, first down. Panthers have not been able to stop Kevin Smith's forays up the middle and up the gut. And this time it was Anderson and Sen, but not before. Kevin Smith gets 10 and 4 yards shy of an 100-yard game.
I think what's happened early on, Carolina was winning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, on the offensive line and on the defensive line. Right now, we've seen Detroit take over that game at the line of scrimmage, and the rest falls into place.
9.5 in the fourth. First down. 15-yard line. Morris. And right now, you wonder if the Panthers defense is wearing down with Kevin Smith and Maurice Morris getting into double digits on runs. 10 yards on that play.
The Lions going quick tempo, but this offensive line really asserting themselves well when it matters most.
Second and 1. Quarterback can do just about anything here. They're on the 6.
Jump. Double.
And they'll give it to Morris. First down inside the 5. And right now the Lions, with the 1-point lead, are pounding the Panthers. It'll be first and goal, Detroit. From the 4, Kevin Smith back in.
When you run the football so well, you open up this.
Kevin Smith, touchdown, and he's got 100 on the day. Carries 100 yards, and Kevin Smith with a 4-yard run, and the Lions leading 34-27 with the point after coming up.
Look at, you spread them out, it opens up the middle. You got to pay attention to Calvin Johnson, and Kevin Smith's reaping the benefits.
Jason Hanson, 8-point lead for the Lions.
This drive, again, it happened at the line of scrimmage. Kevin Smith, Maurice Morris, didn't matter who was in, they're winning at the line of scrimmage.
8-point lead for the Lions, and the valuable job at best out for the 4th consecutive game post-concussive symptoms. And Kevin Smith, who was a 3rd-round pick in his 3rd year, with the touchdown and his 4th career 100-yard rushing game and his 1st since the 2009 season. Polaris out of the end zone, back of the end zone, will start from the 20. So the Detroit Lions making it happen. They ran into an early hole, a big hole, but they've come back strong. How wild is this National Football League? I mean, this is what fans love. Last 7 possessions, 5 touchdowns, over 360 yards, 39 plays. Entertainment. Well,
I give a lot of credit to that young man, Matthew Stafford, too. Doing it, playing with pain.
Still a 1-score game as the Panthers come back from the 20, and Jonathan Stewart is stopped by Stephen Tulloch after picking up about 2.
And a big part of that offensive turnaround for the Detroit Lions, Dick, is that young man, Kevin Smith. And Jim Schwartz telling him, welcome back. This is what makes the NFL such great theater. Kevin Smith 3 weeks ago sitting at home thanking the man upstairs for this 2nd opportunity, and he's making the most of it.
Is he ever? 2nd and 7. Cam Newton dumps it off to Stewart, and Stewart getting the 1st down, get past the 40-yard line and knocked out of bounds. The pass wasn't thrown perfectly to him, and Stewart made a good move to get upfield.
Well, the last 2 runs, you talk about will. Jonathan Stewart, you can just see he wants this game. The prior run, he's grinding for extra yards, gets a good block, and he makes the most of it. Steve Smith doing a great job blocking downfield as well.
Just shy of midfield at the 49. Stewart has 5 catches for 80 yards. He's also rushed for 22. So that's over 100 yards total for Jonathan Stewart today. Handoff, no. It's going to be Cam Newton on the fake handoff and the option, and he picks up about 7.5 there. Chris Harris making the stop.
And here's the conundrum that guys like Cam Newton put guys like Andre Fluellen in. Do you go to D'Angelo Williams? And that allows Cam Newton to have the ball in space. But Cam Newton takes a hit from Chris Harris and gets right back up.
And the Panthers in Lion territory at the 43. 2nd down and 2. 6:20 remaining in regulation.
Righty.
This time they hand off to D'Angelo Williams, and this time nothing there. As Ndamukong Suh envelops him, and they'll lose about a yard or so.
Watching Ndamukong Suh right here. Unbelievable. Throws grown men. These are big men he's going against, and he throws them around like rag dolls and then shows off those big biceps. One of the nicest kids you'll ever meet when he comes in a production meeting, though.
Soft-spoken. You wonder if he's tough enough.
Carries a big stick.
His arms and his body. 3rd down and 3. And here is Newton. He gets it out to D'Angelo Williams. 1st down. Here goes Williams. D'Angelo Williams brought down, and another horse collar may be coming up. Cliff Averill, the only way he could bring him down, and we may have another horse collar penalty.
And nonetheless, an incredible hustle play.
Foul. Horse collar tackle defense. Number 92. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
I'm interested, does he have his shirt or does he have his hair, D'Angelo Williams' hair hanging out there? I don't know, but that's a tremendous hustle play by Cliff Averill. Regardless of the penalty, that saves a touchdown for the Detroit Lions.
You're right, a lineman going all the way downfield.
That's a defensive end. That's great effort.
30, you're right, 32 yards. And then half the distance, 6. So 38 in all, and it's 1st and goal on the 6 of the Lions. We lead by 8. And Cam Newton up the middle. That wasn't even a quarterback draw. He just took off with the snap and went in from 6 yards out for the touchdown to make it 35-33. And Ron Rivera says we're going for 2.
Well, what a great job by Cam Newton. He sees the wide defensive tackles and says, I'm going to split the middle. Gets right behind Ryan Khalil. And here's what athleticism at the quarterback can give you. And I bet we see it right here on the two-point conversion. You give Cam the run-pass option. He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his arm.
His 9th touchdown rushing, but what counts here is what happens with the two-point conversion. Panthers looking to tie the game. Newton throws, caught, and the game is tied. Steve Smith, and you don't know what to do when you have Cam Newton ready to run with the ball. And the game is tied at 35 with just under 5 minutes to go in regulation.
And what an excellent football game we're watching right now. You look at the touchdown, Cam Newton gets behind his right center, Ryan Khalil. Takes that big body, two-point conversion. What poise for a rookie quarterback. And what smarts, knowing going to Steve Smith's a good thing. Tight coverage, puts a strike on him. Kyle Vanden Bosch can't believe it, but that's what Cam Newton does to a lot of people in this league. Cam Newton's dancing now. Back to Matt Stafford. We keep responding. This is awesome.
It is. He's a rookie, remember that. And you know, the Panthers probably thought that Andrew Luck was going to be their first pick. They were saying they were going to take the #1 pick quarterback in the draft. It was Luck at the time. Luck went back to Stanford, and so they took Cam Newton. Not a bad second choice.
Yeah.
9 touchdowns rushing on the year, and Steve Smith giving him encouragement over on the sideline, and the way Smith used his body to shield him from Eric Wright for the two-point conversion to tie the game. Orlando Mare kicking off to Logan, and the Lions will accept the ball on the 20-yard line. Well, this December, 2 of the most storied conferences in college football culminate their seasons with 2 epic championship games for the first time in their history, and Fox Sports will bring them to you on back-to-back nights. The Pac-12 championship game Friday, December 2nd, and the Big Ten championship game Saturday, December 3rd. Both games are only on Fox Sports. Well, you got to give tremendous credit to the Lions from coming back from 17 down, and to the Panthers in the 4th quarter here to tie the game. First down at the 20. Stafford has all day, and he's got Calvin Johnson. What a catch into Panther territory to the 49.
What a catch is right. They've got Calvin Johnson one-on-one. Chris Gamble tries to get physical, but watch Sherrod Martin, the free safety. I'm thinking interception. Calvin Johnson says not so fast. He goes up and gets the ball like he does better than any wide receiver in this league. Look at that athleticism, that concentration. That's what makes him the best in the NFL in my mind.
30-yard reception, the longest pass play today for the Lions. Johnson has 5 catches for 89 yards. And here is Kevin Smith, and he is tackled from behind after a gain of 3. Charles Godfrey making the tackle. Johnson coming in, the top receiver, and 11 touchdowns, leading the league. 4 minutes to go in the 4th.
Look at that extension. But watch this field turf is consisted at the base of it of these little rubber pellets, and it looks like they're getting those out of his eyes. He'll be back.
Remember, he had his bell rung last week. People didn't know whether it was a concussion or not. Apparently not. Second down and 7. Here's Godfrey on the safety blitz. They get it off to Pettigrew, and the big tight end Brandon Pettigrew churns his way to the 31 and a first down. James Anderson makes the tackle, but the Lions pick up 16.
And watch Charles Godfrey coming from over here. You'll see him coming off the edge. Best way to counter a blitz, throw right at it. Pettigrew holds patiently, then releases. Stafford delivers. Big gain for the Detroit Lions.
Hey, John, every time the Lions have scored, they have done it in a hurry. It's been a quick striking offense today. First down from the 31 of the Panthers.
Double.
Kevin Smith Well, he drags James Anderson, but not before the first down, and 2 flags will go down.
They're going to get Neblett, the defensive lineman, on a late hit.
After the play, personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, late hit, defense. Number 68, half the distance to the goal.
I don't think
First
you've
down.
missed a penalty call seconds after it happens all year, to be honest with you.
Well, this one wasn't too hard to see. Watch the big boy downfield. You can't do that. That's a bad penalty. That hurts your football team. Half the distance to the goal line now. Neblett hustling downfield. You admire that, but you got to play smart.
12 catches, or 12 rushes for 115 yards for Smith. Career high for him. First and goal. I was going to say easy for you to say. First and goal at the 9 in a tie game at 35. Handoff to Kevin Smith again, and Smith charges his way to about the 7. And Carolina will call a timeout. The Panthers anticipating the fact that they're going to need some time if they're trailing, and it may be for a final serve.
And that's when you can run the football well. That's what you can do, is milk the clock so that Cam Newton doesn't have any time left.
Jennifer Hale.
Well, Dick, you know, the Lions drafted Kevin Smith in '09, and he was plagued with all sorts of injury problems. The Lions decided not to re-sign him this offseason. He sat out of training camp and worked out for 6 different teams trying to get picked up. Nobody was interested until November 6th, the Lions bye week. They agreed to let him come back and work out. They were very impressed with the progress he's made. And today, 115 yards, that is a career high. 2 touchdowns. This sure seems to be working out well for both sides today.
I would think so. His career high, 112 against Carolina, 117 in this game. Second down and goal from the 7. Lions looking to regain the lead. Play action for Stafford. Stafford drills it into the end zone, incomplete, intended for Pettigrew. And that will bring up 3rd and goal, and James Anderson, the linebacker, might have deflected that pass.
He did deflect it, and what a tremendous effort by James Anderson. Watch him extend his arm, and at the last second gets a fingertip. Otherwise, touchdown for Pettigrew. Great effort by Anderson.
And this is a big 3rd down play coming up. Huge. Ball is at the 7. Stafford. End zone. Touchdown. Pettigrew. Matthew Stafford's second 5-touchdown game. To 5 different receivers, and the Lions lead with 2:32 to go, and Jason Hanson looking to give Detroit a 7-point lead, and he does. It's 42-35 in a wild, high-scoring game with Carolina with another chance here.
When you've got Calvin Johnson, you're going to have safeties concerned with him. That puts the onus on Pettigrew, and watch him work James Anderson and stay alive. And Matthew Stafford stays hot, patiently waits for Pettigrew to come clean, and then hits him right where he needs to. Matthew Stafford has been awesome. I can't tell you how much I admire and respect this guy playing with pain. His index finger on his throwing hands hurt, and he's put on a display here throwing the football since his struggles early on.
And for Pettigrew, who came into the game as the 2nd leading receiver on the Lions, that is his 3rd touchdown catch of the year. And for Stafford with the 5, now with 25 TD strikes on the season. So now the Carolina Panthers with a chance.
And I was trying to bench him early. I'm thinking his fingers hurt. But this guy's been awesome. You got to give it to Matthew Stafford. gutty effort, fighting back.
You just suggested it, John. You didn't say they should do it. And running it out is Kealoha Polaris, and he is tripped up at the 17-yard line. Wild game right here, and the Panthers have one last chance, and if they had held him to a field goal, they would have only needed a field goal for overtime. So now, you know, what's their recipe?
Well, what's been the recipe all day? These quarterbacks have been responding, and Cam Newton, yes, he's a rookie, but he seems up to the task. He's got 3 timeouts, 2:28 left. We'll see if he can do it. Stafford's been outstanding. Newton's been outstanding. This has been a great game.
No question about it, and if you think the Lions have had to work hard in this one, remember the Packers are coming to town on Thursday. They're leading Tampa Bay and could be undefeated when they do. And here is Cam Newton's drilling up the middle, tip, and intercepted. Taken down by Chris Harris. And it was deflected by Stephen Tulloch, and Chris Harris picks it off. Biggest play since he was signed by the Lions. Former Chicago Bear, who was waived by the Bears 3 weeks ago and started 83 games in his career, makes a big one here.
This is who Cam Newton's going for. Tries to throw a strike to LaFell, but Stephen Tulloch does a tremendous job of reading his eyes, makes the deflection, and Chris Harris cashes in.
Being at the right place at the right time sometime is half the story. And the Lions, with 2:17 to go, look to be in control. They'll have a first down on the 23 of the Panthers. Kevin Smith. And grabbing his shirt was Thomas Kaiser. And the Panthers will use their second timeout here after a gain of 2.
You see Fairley, his old college teammate Nick Fairley, he's going after him, and Cam Newton says ole. Gene Steratore says whoa, whoa, whoa. Explains to Nick Fairley. But a great job. Tips and overthrows in the National Football League turn into interceptions.
Gene Steratore, really good anticipation after a play is over. So the Panthers 1-5 in games decided by 7 points or fewer. And you can talk about the fact that 5 of their 7 losses have been a touchdown or less. That could be getting old.
It is getting old, but again, this is a process they're going through. And I think this guy's doing an outstanding job. It's hard to understand that when you only have 2 wins, but their talent's short right now. A couple of good drafts. This team's right where they need to be.
Second down and 9 on the 22 of Carolina, and they hand off to Kevin Smith, who dives inside the 20. And the Panthers will use their third and last timeout. Remember, the Lions were 2-14 first year under Jim Schwartz, and last year they won their last 4 games to go 6-10. Doesn't happen automatically. I remember Chuck Noll, the great Pittsburgh Steelers coach who led them to 4 Super Bowls. He was 1-13. They only played 14 at the time. 1-13 his first year.
This is just 4 years ago. This Lions team was 0-16. Never been done in the National Football League. Martin Mayhew has done a tremendous job assembling talent, and give credit to Jim Schwartz for putting it all together. And they're on the right track. Looking to be 7-3 if they can win today.
Packers are up by 9 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and of course it'll be Packers and Lions in the traditional Thanksgiving Day game on Fox on Thursday. A glittering contest, and somehow I've seen over the years, and I'm not predicting anything here, Packers are great, the Lions rise to the occasion many times in those Thanksgiving games. Third down and 7. Panthers are out of timeouts, and now they're out of it as Kevin Smith puts the nail on it as he goes into the end zone for his second touchdown of the game. 19 yards to ice it for Detroit, and the 2-minute warning here at Ford Field. 140 yards for Kevin Smith today. Nearly gained 1,000 in his rookie campaign on the season. And here is Jason Hansen. Adding the 49th point of the game for the Lions.
This is the 2-minute warning.
49-35, and as they say, the game was a lot closer than the score indicated.
Greatness is defined by doing your job all the time. Calvin Johnson makes the key block for Kevin Smith. That's what great players do, and he is just that, a great player. Talk about greatness. Kevin Smith having a great day today, but he's a smart man. He goes over to his offensive line, thanks each and every one of them. A really neat story. Kevin Smith home 3 weeks ago on his couch, tries out, and here he is, the player of the game.
And 6 turnovers in the game as this kick bobbled in the end zone by Polaris, and the Panthers will take it out on the 20. So Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Johnson, Clay Matthews, Ndamukong Suh, Matthew Stafford. You see enough stars? How about this great NFC North Thanksgiving Day matchup on Fox? You won't want to miss it, whether it's before or after your turkey dinner. Pre-game show begins at 11:30 a.m., 8:30 Pacific, and it'll be the Packers against the Lions. And the Packers heading for yet another win, would be their 10th of the year without a loss. First down on the 20. Cam Newton. And this pass caught by Olsen, picking up 7. 7 yards on the play. The Detroit Lions, coming in, had outscored their opponents in the second half by 90 points. Today they outscored the Panthers 35-8. And I know this one isn't over yet. 35-8 so far in the second half.
That's impressive.
Second down and 3. Cam Newton caught by Olsen. First down, gets to the 35. Can't stop the clock. They are out of timeouts, an 8-yard gain. Pressure, but caught by Stewart out of the backfield. And Stewart is hit at the 41, will be about 3 yards short of a first down, just for the record. Durant making the tackle. It'll bring up 2nd and 3.
If you're wondering, how do you stop Aaron Rodgers as we watch Cam Newton? It's these guys up front, right there.
It all starts, sets the tone. Here is Brandon LaFell as the Lions gambling for the interception. And LaFell picks up 24 yards, and the clock stops at 1:03. So that is perhaps the big hope for the Lions. It has to be their front 4.
Absolutely. I think back to the Super Bowl. Gosh, when Tom Brady was so hot, no one thought they could stop Tom Brady. He was playing better than any quarterback ever. It took someone to the Super Bowl, but the New York Giants up front beat Tom Brady. I watched them, the Detroit Lions, do that to Tom Brady this preseason, and it was impressive.
Yes, it was. First down and 10. Minute to go. Cam Newton still on his feet. Great balance by Newton, and he ends up incomplete to Olsen. Let's go to Kurt Menefee.
The Redskins, with 14 seconds left, tie it up with Dallas. Rex Grossman throwing up to Dante Stallworth, who was cut last week, then re-signed, tying the game at 24 with 14 ticks remaining. They are now going to overtime. Dick and John, time permitting, when your game is done, we'll take your audience to the conclusion of that.
Kurt, we can't wait. Lions with a great second half, and tell you what, should be great overtime between the Cowboys and the Redskins, those age-old rivals. Second down and 10 on the 36 of the Lions. Cam Newton's pass intercepted by Stephen Tulloch, and that is the 4th interception of the game by the Lions with 47 seconds left. So a good start for Cam Newton, and then
this.
And watch Stephen Tulloch right there. We saw him with the tip that led to the last interception. This time he says, I'm going to keep it for myself. Cam Newton, late in the game, you've got to force the ball downfield. The Detroit Lions, you got to hand it to them. Got down early, but they never blinked. They kept playing. Guys like Stephen Tulloch, Kevin Smith, Matthew Stafford, some phenomenal individual efforts, but they played great as a team today.
No question, John, and the Lions needed this. They had lost 3 of their last 4. They will go to 7-3, as you mentioned, and they finally go to 3-2 at home and got the Packers on Thursday. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, they will drop to 2-8 and will lose for the 12th consecutive time on the road. We see a lot of good things and future for Carolina, but for the Lions, quickly, their time is now, and Jim Schwartz is now thinking about Thursday, wouldn't you say?
Really quick. You're going to see some coaches stay up a lot of hours right now because they're playing in 4 days.
So the final seconds tick down, and the final score, the Lions 49 and the Panthers 35. And we'll return to Detroit for more post-game coverage right after these messages.